Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now we have the lab 7 of micro and embedded system, which are interrupt. So this is our task one of interrupts lab, in which we have to check the external interrupt 0 and interrupt 1. So basically this is the code that I have written for this task, in which I have added the LCD library that I have already made and already used in previous labs also. So the library is same, not any change in that library. After that, I am going to write the main code for my this task interrupt, in which I have declared the port B and C as an output, and then I have called the LCD initialization function from the LCD library, and then I am declaring the port D as an input. So after this, I am going to initialize the port D input pins. So I am declaring the PD2 as an input with pull up enabled. That's why here I am sending here as 1, and now I'm going to use the PD3 as an input with pull up enabled, so that's why I'm going to use the 1 on the pin 1. Now after that, for setting the interrupt 0 on the trigger mode, so that's why I am giving the EICRA register value 1 on ISC00. This is for timer 0, and after that I am going to check the interrupt 0. That's why I am going to use the mask register for the interrupt 0 and 1. In the same way, I am going to set the values for the interrupt 1 for on the falling edge. That's why I am going to set the ISC1 for the interrupt 1, the pin 1, and now I am going to mask the interrupt 1. That's why here I am going to send the 1 value on the mask register for the timer 1. Now I have set the timers for my task, and now I'm going to turn on the interrupts. That's why I'm going to call the function SCI. Now on the while condition, my LCD displays the waiting until and unless I'm going to press the external interrupt for 0 and interrupt 1 button. Until that, the LCD shows the waiting function. For the interrupt 0 function, interrupt 0, I have called this function, in which I am going to check whether the interrupt 0 button is pushed or not. When interrupt 0 button is pushed, the LCD will show the string interrupt 0, and when this is for the function interrupt 1, and when the button for the interrupt 1 is pushed, then the LCD will show the interrupt 1, means now the interrupt 1 is calling. Now I'm going to show you the Proteus of this task. Here you see that I have made the Proteus for this task. Now I'm going to place the hex file on this. I have already placed the hex file here. Now the hex file is generated. You see that here this push button is for the connected with the IO21, means this push button is for the interrupt 0, and this below push button is connected with the IO20, means this push button is for the interrupt 1. When I am going to push the up button, the interrupt 0 is called, and when I am going to push the below button, the interrupt 1 is called, and this will display on the my LCD. Now I am going to simulate this. You see that when none of the button is pressed, the LCD is showing waiting, means I am going to wait for the calling of the external interrupts. Now when I am going to push the interrupt 0 button, the LCD shows the interrupt 0, means the interrupt 0 is called, and again it will show waiting now because both push buttons are off. Now when I'm going to press the interrupt 1 button, now the LCD shows the interrupt 1. Now again it is showing waiting. So in this way I have completed the task 1 for the lab 7 of interrupts, in which I am checking the interrupt 0 and interrupt 1 by external push buttons. तो ये हमारा इंटरप्ट का टास्क है, जिसमें आपने इंटरप्ट बनानी थी, और ये हमारा एक पुश बटन है जो इंटरप्ट 0 के लिए, और दूसरा पुश बटन है जो कि हमने इंटरप्ट 1 के लिए कॉल किया हुआ है. तो अभी हमारी LCD पे वेटिंग शो हो रहा है, अभी कोई भी प्रेस बटन शो नहीं है. यहाँ पे भी सिमुलेशन में भी वेटिंग आ रहा है. तो अब जैसे ही हम लोग बटन्स प्रेस करेंगे, बटन 1 प्रेस करेंगे, तो हमारा इंटरप्ट 0 शो हो जाएगी, यानी अभी हमने इंटरप्ट 0 के लिए बटन पुश किया. फिर वेटिंग आएगा, और फिर जब इंटरप्ट 1 के लिए पुश करेंगे तो इंटरप्ट 1 आ जाएगा, यानी इंटरप्ट 1 कॉल हो गया. उसी तरह हमारा यहाँ पे सिमुलेशन में भी इसी तरह इंटरप्ट 0 और